Alright, here we go, Jerbz. This is a surprise episode.
Wait, no, I don't. No, stop.
What? Well, no, don't. No, it's not about you, Bryce. Get out of here.
It's about the tea.
It's about this. This is Cosmic Brownies by Little Debbie with chocolate chip candy. So, I have no experience with this, so we're gonna have our senior dessert expert, Zach Campbell, explain what's up.
What's going on, guys? This is Zach here, coming at you with another Jerbz video about Cosmic Brownies. This is a Little Debbie product with a net weight of about 13.1 ounces. In this box comes 6 Cosmic Brownies. The retail price is $179, and we actually picked this up for $159 at our local grocery store.
That's thrifty shop.
These are individually wrapped. It is a Little Debbie product, as you can see here.
Wait, I think there's an ad.
Opening.
There's an ad on the back. Can you show that?
An ad on the back here for mini muffins. Muffins that are mini.
Ooh, alright, gotcha.
Now, on the front of the box here, you can see next to the Little Debbie picture, there's an easy thumb opener right here.
Ooh.
That baby just slides right open.
Perfect for kids.
There it is. Perfect for kids, actually. So you see, as we slide one out here, there's an individual dual wrap.
I would say
brownie
that's not individually wrapped.
Chocolate brownie here with some chocolate colored candies, giving it that cosmic.
And can you describe these candies for us, Zach?
These candies are basically your basic M&M, but a lot smaller, a lot thinner, of course. But the color just adds to that cosmic look. As you see on the label here, we have the rainbow.
And it's less of a choking hazard. Perfect for kids.
So let's go over nutrition. This is very important here.
Yes, I could
We
forget.
got total fats at 11 grams. Now this is actually per brownie, meaning the dual individually wrapped brownies. So basically 2 brownies wrapped in one individual package would be the 11 grams of fat, 280 calories.
So 280 calories per
Yes.
brownie. Would you say that's a reasonable amount?
I would say it is, considering the 2 grams of protein. If you were to consume about 15 brownies, you would be getting your average protein shake protein amount. So I'd say it's definitely worth it. With 24 grams of sugar, that might be a lot to the average consumer, but yeah, you can pick one of these bad boys up. And yeah, this is Jerbz with a product placement video.
Isn't the average consumer
Little Debbie,
All right. Well, wait. Would you like to try one just on camera?
Oh sure.
So let's see what happens when you open the wrapper. So what happens? What do you get inside one of these individual wrap packages?
So one of these individually wrapped brownies, you get 2 brownies with a separator in the back here, showing you how to dose your brownie here.
So could you theoretically play dominoes with these?
You could not theoretically.
Oh, look. So wait. So how many pieces here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
So the equal amount of pieces per brownie guaranteed. Guaranteed. Actually, I'm not sure if that's true.
Well,
please don't quote me on that, Little Debbie. But if you could make that happen, I think Little Debbie would be very known for the exact amount of 7 candy pieces on each brownie. And
all right. And what's your immediate reaction to eating a Little Debbie?
I'm feeling cosmic right now. Out of this world. Full product. 10 out of 10. Yeah.
So describe the flavor.
Well, you get hit with that fudge taste, and then that chocolate frosting comes next, and then those candies kind of add in to give it that kick that most chocolates in general do not have. So yeah.
What do you think the real value of this brownie is?
The real value of this brownie, I would have to go. I'd say about $1 per dual brownie would be a pretty good assessment here, putting the value of this product at $6 over the $179 retail price.
All right. Well, this has been a Jerbz certified review. See you guys next time.